But dude, I'm excited you're here, Timmy. I really appreciate it, brother.
Are we starting right now?
Thank you so much. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
With this in here?
Cheers, dude. Yeah, I mean.
All right. Well, okay. You can start over there. Okay. All right. No, I know where we're going.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate you being here, dude. This is exciting. I'm glad we were able to make it happen, schedule it, and find time in our busy lives. So thanks for being here, brother.
Well, I'm honored to be here. I've never done something like this before.
Awesome,
so.
Dude. I'm excited. But you're a people guy though. Like you're pretty good when it comes to like communicating stuff. You've never been one to shy away from speaking.
No,
so it's good. I like it. I like it a lot. It helps.
Yeah, no, it does, especially in what we're doing now, and just in life in general. I love just being with people, around people, different people, like everybody getting to know people. Yeah. Like I love it.
Where'd you go to high school, dude? I actually don't think I know this.
So I went to high school in a small town called Petrolia, LCCVI. That's where I grew up. Yeah. It's near Sarnia.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so south of London. Yeah, small town, 5,000. One stoplight in the town, like one of those hick towns. So no, born in Toronto, moved to London, then grew up like from like 8 years old to all through high school in Petrolia. But you know, it was a relatively big high school compared to like ones here. Like we had like just over 1,000 kids at our high school. Yeah, so I mean it's all the surrounding towns as well.
Oh, I see.
So you know, it was a fun funny school.
Nice.
I'll say.
So then, in that, where did you it was just like a grade, like 9 to 12.
Yeah,
like,
9 to 12.
Nothing
crazy. 9 to 12. Yeah.
Did you after grade 12? What'd you do? Like where'd you end up?
Yeah, so after grade 12, I wanted to play one more year of basketball.
Nice.
And so I stayed just for half. So I did a victory lap, but only half the year. So just the first semester. Yeah. And then at the time, Michaela and I were dating. And then, you know, we were doing the long distance. So, I mean, she was up here in Sudbury and I was down there. So it was like 6.5 hour drive between us. So
nice.
Then... so I stayed for the basketball season, got a couple extra credits, and applied to Laurentian. Big mistake. No. Just kidding. Then
2019.
Yeah. So 2018. That was 2018 or what year is that? Yeah, I think 2018. Maybe 2019. And then 2019 April I moved up here.
Nice.
Just by the college, bought a place there, me and my dad, and then we renovated the basement, put a couple rooms in. I took the studio apartment and then rented out 5 of the rooms to other college students. So, way to make passive income. And then I was working part-time at Canadian Tire, and then eventually got a job at Eastside Mario's serving. So, just doing a lot of different stuff, you know. I was working in the warehouse, Canadian Tire, for the summer of 2018, before I even lived in Sudbury. I just did a summer at Canadian Tire, and then once I moved up here, then I started doing a little more work there, and then it was good. I honestly liked Canadian Tire.
Yeah.
It was like working in the warehouse. It's not as, you know, like the people in the warehouse were cool. You didn't have to deal with too many
crazies on the floor. They call them.
Crazies on the floor. Yeah. So no, honestly, it was a good job, and then. You know, with doing that on top of doing the landlord stuff and doing school and whatnot, and 2019, and then shortly 2020 was when COVID happened, and that whole shutdown happened. That was a time. So I just continued to work at Canadian Tire for a bit, and then after that, I got into I was just a whole sorry, I'm all over the map here, but after COVID happened, I actually didn't go get my vaccine, and Laurentian was kind of like, hey, you gotta get vaccinated.
No way.
Yeah, so I was like, me and my brother, who was living with me at the time, we didn't want to, so we were like, no, and then they were like, well, if you don't, we're gonna kick you out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, well, I don't think you can do that. So I had a bunch of meetings with the dean, a bunch of meetings with my profs and whatnot, and it went back and forth for about a month, and then eventually they were like, we're just unenrolling you from your courses. I was like, oh, well, okay then. And then so yeah, I was kicked out of school. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was in school to be a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so weird because after that had happened, I went and applied to the Catholic School Board during COVID, and
Mm-hmm.
they accepted my application. I started working as a supply teacher for the school
What?
board. Yeah, so I was
Oh,
like,
man.
so while the rest of the people
I
I
didn't
was in
know
school
this.
with
That's
was
awesome.
they were still in school to
You
be a
were working
teacher,
as
and
a
I was working as a
teacher.
teacher.
That's
And
so good.
I was like, well, this is weird. But then yeah, no, it was just, and now I'm not even in teaching anymore. So it's just like,
Oh man,
life changes.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
How long did you work as a supply teacher for?
2 years. It was good. Like just the Catholic school board, so I did
Yeah.
like St. Fran, like the elementary school board.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And about 2 years, and I was still doing serving East Side. Still had my my income property as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I still did a little bit of Canadian Tire, maybe like 1 or 2 shifts a week.
Yeah.
So I was really burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, where did you find room to, like, pursue things or like even like relationship stuff? Like, how did you manage to balance everything?
It was hard. It was
Yeah.
like a weird time for everybody.
It
know,
was,
honestly,
yeah.
COVID was different for everybody, but
Yeah,
it was like it was really just crazy. Like it was just wake up 7 a.m.
Yeah.
go to Canadian Tire, work till like 3ish, and then go do a shift or not a shift, a shift at a shift at Eastside Mario's, or I get called in to work 8 a.m. at the school.
Yeah.
Go do a supply teaching gig, then go serve again till like 10, 11, and go home. I mean, at the time, at least then, like, at that time, I wasn't on top of that doing school. So, like, before that, I was doing school and working. And then after I got kicked out, no school, just working. It was just, like, a lot of that. Not a lot of free time. Just, like, But, I don't know. It was just, like, and it was weird because, like, you weren't allowed to go out. During that time,
Yeah.
and it was just like, so what do we do? Like, I'd have people over, I guess, like, to my place, or go over to Michaela's place or whatnot. Like, it was such a weird time. So yeah, I was really burnt out a lot of the time, and you got to do it sometime.
Oh, for sure.
Everybody's hustling, but
I also think, dude, to your point, I don't think there's anything wrong with burning the candle on both ends, especially when you're young and you're able to do it.
No, for
and
sure.
like nobody's missing out by you doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you've no kids and wife relying like so much at that time.
Yeah.
Right? So I definitely think it's the best way to do it. And it's like, oh man, you have all this time, you have all this energy, why not use it, right, to your advantage? Mm-hmm. So that's cool that's like what you did.
Yeah. And now it's completely different now that life is. That was what? How many years ago was that?
That was a handful, eh?
Yeah.
We're 2025.
We're 2025 now.
Dude.
When did that happen?
My goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I mean, now life is completely changed. Now married with a kid, one coming in June.
Crazy.
So now it's burning the candle at both ends in a completely different sense. Now you're.
Yeah.
You're working your job, you're doing your hobbies, and taking care of a little tiny human as well on top of that. So that's
how do you even like manage that part? Like that seems crazy. People are like, man, I didn't know, like it's so expensive and it's so like it'll consume all your time. Like what are some misconceptions about having kids, especially if you're like younger? Like what are some misconceptions? Some like
well, I mean, like, first of all, like, I mean, honestly, like, I'd be lying to say if, like, when we first found out we were having a baby, like, I wasn't, like, scared to death. I was, it was like, oh my goodness, what do we do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what being a dad is like. So, at first, it was, like, a little bit of panic, but then, as time goes on and when it actually happens, it's completely life-changing, man. Like, it'll like, when we got married, I thought, like, oh my goodness, like, my life has changed. Like, it's just like it's a whole new world once you're at your own wedding, like saying your vows, and then all of a sudden you spend your married life, and then you have a baby, and it's like that completely flips your whole world upside down in a new way. So it's like a lot of people are scared of like, oh well, it's going to cost a lot. It's going to take up all your time. But
Yeah, that's the big.
that's the big thing,
Yeah,
especially
that's
when
the
you're
fear for
young.
sure.
But then when it actually happens, you don't really see it that way anymore. It's like I want to be spending my time with my family. I want to
no
be.
way.
I want to do stuff. I want to. I do
Yeah.
want to spend my money on my family. I want to go places, and like it's just it's a completely different type of joy of happiness as well. Like it's like you just gotta experience it, because you see other people's kids and you're like, oh, you might think, oh, that's a cute kid, and it's whatever.
and
But then when you see yourself in somebody else's eyes, it's like, hello,
Yeah.
like what is this? Like,
this is crazy.
it gets
Yeah.
you. I never used to cry, and now I cry all the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Kids, eh?
Yeah, she brings it out of me.
Oh, man.
And now we're having a second one, and now it's like, okay, wait a minute. One we could do.
Yeah.
There's two of us, one of them, and and now it's like, 1v1.
You're like, that's
No,
even
kidding.
now.
No,
yeah,
no.
it's even playing field
It's
now. No, for sure.
with Michaela, she works as an RN at the hospital here.
Yeah.
And, she's working shift work, 12-hour shifts, and I'm doing real estate in Bevo, and it's just been like, she'll get home from a 12-hour shift, and then, I'm like, all right, now you got to watch Brindley. I got to go do my work.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing work, she's watching Brindley, and then, if she's got to wake up early, she's doing a night shift. I'll take Brindley around to showings and to the office and whatnot. She loves it. We've been blessed with an awesome kid, and
nice.
And
what do you have to attribute that to? You think like any like crazy good parenting tips you got, or what?
No, it's not me. It's not anything to do with me. I mean, we do the best we can.
Yeah.
I don't think like you could be the best parents, and sometimes.
But dude, did you get any like advice when you first found out you were gonna have a kid that you think really is?
I think what definitely helped with us. I mean, I'm one of 5 kids, so I have an older brother,
That's right,
a younger sister, and 2 younger brothers as well, and then Michaela, she's got an older sister and 7 younger siblings. So it's like we had like when we were dating. I remember when we first started dating, and
Jeez, birthdays.
her youngest brother at the time was just born, so like I was around for him as a baby, and obviously she had a bunch of younger siblings growing up, and then they had her youngest sister was born a couple years later, and I was living here for most of that, and and then her older sister has 4 kids, so like being around just with all these kids, definitely helped. I wasn't a stranger to changing a couple bums and dealing with all the crying and playtime. It's just like I find it a lot. I don't know, like I don't want to say it's easy, but it's definitely like I was getting up early and staying up late all the time. Now I'm just doing it because Michaela and I we'll spend all day working, and then we'll put Brindley down, and then now we have our time together, and then we stay up till like 2, and then Brindley's up at like 7:38. So it's like we're tired, but we're young as well. So I mean, it makes it a little easier when you're younger.
That's
like
a good way to put it too.
I don't know, like I feel like I definitely feel tired all the time, but now it's fine. Like it's just you gotta do what you gotta do, and I love spending time with Brindley. Like today, Michaela's at work, and we have a lot of good support through her family that lives here. So that also makes it easier. If you're gonna be if you're gonna be a new parent, I'd suggest having grandparents real close. That's all. But yeah, no, it's been a wild. I can't give any advice. I'm not in any position to give parenting advice. Okay, guys. I'm not your role. I'm not your standard the model dad. I'm just
Oh,
I'm
dude,
just
I
a
wouldn't say
guy.
that,
I'm
yeah.
just a guy. I'm just
as the days go.
Yeah,
by,
you just do your best. That's all. Like come
That's
on,
it.
like if you feel like you're giving it your all, then that's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
So if we back up a bit,
Yeah.
you mentioned when you kind of parted ways with university and you're working a handful of different jobs and stuff like that. when did real estate come into the picture? Like, what did that initial, like, oh, I want to do this now? What did that look like?
That was just, that was, I believe everything happens for a reason. It was just a lot of different things coming into play at the same time. And so I mean, when I first got kicked out and I was working, supply teaching, Canadian Tire, serving, and then I eventually left Eastside Mario's and went to the Keg. But before I left Eastside Mario's, and I was telling everybody that I was like, oh, I'm on my way out, like, like this is my last couple weeks here. It was so weird. It was like I think it was the like winter of 2023, and my Rogan, who he was doing real estate photography and videography for the Ames team, which who I work for now. But
Top Dog Terry.
Top Dog Terry, he's the guy. Jen, she's the girl. Like the whole team. Like okay, I'm getting on myself here. So Rogan was doing
the enthusiasm, dude. Yeah.
Rogan was doing work for them, and he was like, "Hey man, like, have you ever thought about doing real estate?" He was the first person to like kind of like really put a bug in my ear. And people have kind of maybe mentioned it before, but like he was the first person to like really put it in my head. I was like, not really, man. Like I'm not a sales guy. I'm not like, And then it was so weird because like 4 different people at my job was that same week were like, "Oh, you'd be like a good real estate agent." And I was like, okay, that's weird. And then, yeah, I was like, how many people? And then one of my good friends that I work with was like, dude, you should be a salesman. I was like, I don't know, like, I was just like, it was never in my head. Like, my dad was a high school teacher, so I was just like, I just want to be a teacher, and, I love doing that, and I love, just spending, time with kids, and I grew up doing, like, helping out in my church and doing summer camps and whatnot, so I just, like, it was a nice job, and I was familiar with it, and you get your weekends, your holidays, your summers off, and if I was gonna be a dad, like I definitely want to spend time with
and
my kids and my family, and
sure.
Yeah, for sure. So that was always in my head, and then after this had happened, I was like, maybe, like I guess, like I don't really know what to do, like I don't know how to start that, so I actually ended up like meeting with Terry and Keandra, and just kind of asking like, was it worth it to be a real estate agent? Like, what does that look like? What do I have to do?
For sure.
What are the first steps? So they kind of like, pointed me in the right direction and told me what to do. So I went to Humber and applied and got accepted December 2023, and it really started in January. And it's an online course. You can take up to 2 years to do it, but you can work at your own pace as fast as you want. Basically, there's 4 courses, 4 exams, and then 2 like simulation sessions with tests as well, which is like via Zoom. And when I started that, I was like, I don't know, like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, I'm a Christian guy. I prayed a lot about it, and spent a lot of time with Michaela talking about it. Like, I don't know, like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, and it just kept, doors just kept opening and conversations kept happening. I met more and more people who were like, yeah, no, you'd be a good real estate agent. I'm like, okay, well,
stars are aligning.
So I was like, all right, I guess I'll do it. So I really hungered down, and this was right before Brindley was born. Brindley was born in May of 2020. Am I getting my dates mixed up? Yeah, sorry, yeah. I keep saying 2023, but it was December of 2022.
We can cut that part.
Cut that part out. So
my daughter's birthday is
no, sorry. I kept saying 2023 earlier, but I meant 2022, and then Brindley was born May of 2023. So anyway, so I like really like hunkered down from like January to April, got the majority of my course done, and then was reaching out to Terry, and I was just saying like, hey, like I'm doing my course, like if I could do some work at the office for you guys, like like let me know, like stuff like that. He's a busy guy, so he would like tentatively say stuff, and I'd be like, oh, okay, cool, like, so nothing was in stone. But then Brindley was born in May 2023, and I took a little hiatus off of doing the schoolwork, and really spent time with just being a new dad and what that was all about. And then you know, and then it really hit me. I was like, you know, like I can't supply, teach, and serve for the rest of my life. Like if I wanna start providing for my family, I gotta hunker down and get this thing done. So I think it was maybe June or July. I still had half the course to go, and ended up finishing it up in, I want to say September, or no, it was like late November or something like that. Anyways, finished it up. Told Terry like, oh, I'm almost done my course, and he's like, actually, like if you want to come do some work at the office for us, you know, pay you, just like to do some random odd jobs. Pick up signs, lock boxes, go pick up some checks or whatever, and do that. So I was doing that, learning the ropes. They were teaching me a couple things.
Meeting the people.
Meeting the people, like spending time in the office, kind of like, because I had no clue what I was doing. No idea. I was like, you know, even during the course, I was like, I don't really get any of this.
Yeah. Oh, like the information isn't clicking as much
it wasn't
as it
clicking, you know? So it's just like,
sure.
you know, with no, like you just jump right into it. And like, you know, obviously when I moved to Sudbury and bought a place, like I had that sort of knowledge. And I was
which is like the experience you need.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah. So like I knew what it was like buying the house and like, you know, making the offer.
You knew the process.
Knew the process. Didn't know any of the paperwork that was involved. Like didn't know what, you know, responsibility of a realtor was. Really didn't know how much behind the scenes stuff there is. Like, cause
it's a lot. Eh?
It was, and you know, it's just kind of like I didn't know any of that. So you know, I'd watch them do their thing in the office. You know, a lot of emails, a lot of calls, a lot of showings, and it wasn't really like clicking for me at the time. And then when I finally finished my course and I was able to, like, this was, so I got licensed January of 2024, so just last year, so I'm a year and a bit now of a licensed realtor, but, so I'm still brand spanking new, but it was a lot of, like, filling in, like, the blanks of, like, okay, like, I know this has to happen, what do I have to do to make this happen? And a lot of it is, like, just, like, figuring out the paperwork and the legalities of it. You know, you definitely don't want to mess somebody's life up by, you know, not doing the paperwork right and or doing something illegal and just like, okay, well, you lose your license. It's like, I don't want that. So at first it was just like shadowing Terry and Jen and Keandra and asking a lot of questions, just like, okay, how do you do this? How do you do this? And all this stuff. It was weird too because like I did the school, and then last December they changed pretty much all the paperwork. All the paperwork had changed. There was different rules now, and it's just like, it's always happening with real estate. They're always changing, tweaking stuff to make things more, you know, buyer seller friendly, like client friendly kind of deal.
Nice.
So then, you know, just relearning it. And actually doing it, like, so I'd say like the first 3 months of me actually doing it was where I learned the most. I was like, oh, okay, like I get it now. Like I get what I'm supposed to be doing. I didn't have, like, really anybody. I didn't know anything about business, didn't know anything about, like, the only thing I knew was, you know, I knew how to buy a house and sell a house.
You know what it's been like to buy and sell, like, to be that person.
So I just, like, so anyways, after the first couple months, I started getting the hang of it, and just, you know, being a part of the Ames team was awesome, just because, like, they're just the best, and like they're just really good people, and I'm definitely blessed to be a part of their team. But after, like I said, that first bit of actually doing it and getting the hang of it, then things started to click, and then since then, you know, getting my own clientele, getting my own database, you know, starting to see business pick up, because like the first 3 months I was working with like 1 or 2 guys. And now you have like, you know, 20 people on the go, and it's just like, it's different, you know, it's nothing like I've ever experienced. But I don't see like being a real estate agent, the thing, like, it's you're more of a people person than a salesman, I find. Like,
oh,
you know,
interesting.
Like, you know, like I don't see, like, if I'm working, if you're trying to buy a house and we go to a house and, you know, it's all right, you're not in love with it, I'm not trying to sell you on this house. I'm not trying to push you into, like, this is a big decision. Like, you know, when we bought our house, we spent a lot of time looking, and then when Michaela and I bought our house, we spent a lot of time looking. We put in a lot of offers, and we lost a lot of offers, and, you know, that's just part of the process. So it's just like, I find myself more as like, you know, I'm just trying to be there for you, walk you through the process. I'm not trying to sell you on a house that, you know, if I legitimately don't like a house, like, I'm gonna say it to you. I'm gonna say, like, here's what I don't like. If you're still game, like, I'm okay to work with you on it, but like, I'll express my opinions about it, and if I'm not trying to push you into something. So that was like something that was kind of a relief, is like, because I didn't see myself as a salesman.
And I think a lot of people see real estate agents as those pushy sales, or any salesperson. Right? You're selling something.
No, absolutely. Like, and there definitely are, like, some people's approach is more salesman-y. Like, you know, I don't think I'll ever go down that route of, like, you know, being more salesperson instead of more like people person.
Now, is that you, or is that just like what you've seen and you've seen it work as well? I imagine both.
Both, a little bit of both. You know, like Terry, Jen, Kendra, like, those who are the people that I've seen, you know, work the most, and they're not.
They don't strike me as pushy.
They're not. No, they're just, you know, they're honest, good people, and that's, you know, they're great role models for me. So I take after them for sure. And just in my experience of, you know, serving and doing a little bit of retail, just being a servant, really, you know, like, to the people. It's just like, that's all you're really doing. Like, you know, you're a professional, but you're a friend, you know. So it's just you're a professional friend. No. But it's been a really cool experience so far, and it definitely, you know, was like the biggest blessing to have this door open for me and for my family as well, just because, you know, now that, you know, Michaela finished her nursing degree shortly after Brindley was born, and she went to go work at the hospital, and she was doing 12-hour shifts. Like, I mean, first she was studying for her NCLEX, which is super stressful.
It's a tough test.
Test, and we had a newborn with us. And
you guys are animals, man. You two are insane.
So, like, I was bringing Brindley to showings. I'm like, you know, I'll bring her to the office. Like I said before, like, it provides you that sort of freedom in quotation marks, but freedom to kind of do what you need to do, or like, if I can't go out on a day, like, I need to be there watching Brindley, like, you know, I schedule around that.
You make it work for sure.
You make it work, and it was definitely a big blessing to have that door open, like I said, and just grateful that it is, because I do get to spend a lot of time with my daughter, and work from home on days, or, you know, bring her days, and or when Michaela's off, like, really focus on what I need to do. So it's an awesome job. I love it. I love it a lot. I can see myself doing it long term, but it's not something that I never saw myself doing in a million years. I never really thought about it, but it just happened. It just so happened that it happened that way, because another cool part about this whole, like, just everything lining up perfectly was that when I first bought my house in Sudbury, me and my dad, we used John E. Smith Realty, and they were great. And we were, at the time that I purchased my first house, we were actually in Florida, and he was like, you know, I think this checks all your boxes, like. So we put in an offer without even seeing the place.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, this was 2019, so the market was a lot different. It was definitely a more buyer's market than it was a seller's market. But, so, you know, we had negotiated the price down, and we had our conditions met and whatnot, and then we actually got to see it and confirm that, like, okay, yeah, we're good to go. Nice. This is our house. We bought it, and, you know, it was great. Great experience, no complaints. And then, you know, I was living there. And then when Michaela and I got married, and we were looking for our house, she was like, oh, we're going to use our realtor, which is, you know, Terry Ames. Yeah. And I was like, okay, sweet. And, you know, something about Terry is that he had terminal cancer.
Yes, I know this.
Yeah. And he went and found his own treatments. You know, he traveled
the
world. He's got a book.
He's got a book.
You can get your book today if you want.
You can. I have a copy. I have a copy of it.
Yeah, exactly. So he traveled the world, found his own treatment, and you know, went through a lot of treatment, and then pushed through, and he was able to beat cancer, and now he's doing what he's doing. Animal. He's the best. He's an animal. And so Michaela's younger sister, Carissa, she had leukemia when she was a teenager, or like just before she was a teenager, and my younger brother had childhood cancer as well, and that's where Michaela and I met. We met at a childhood cancer camp called Camp Trillium.
Yeah.
She was going to the northern camp. I was going to the southern camp. One summer, I decided to come try out the northern camp, and that's where we met. And her and my sister were in the same cabin. They were friends. We found out that we went to a lot of the same church events and whatnot throughout the year. So we got to see each other a bunch throughout the year. And then when we started dating in 2018, I came up here for the summer. And then 2019, when I moved here, bought the place. And then when we got married in 2022 and we were looking for a place with Terry now, you know, we're seeing houses with Terry, and, you know, it was just like, oh, this is a completely different experience than what it was buying my last place.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, the care that his team had for us was like, you know, it was like, oh wow, like this is awesome and unexpected. So when Terry was like, when Rogan was, well, when we were looking for a place, and Rogan was starting out his real estate videography and photography, I asked Terry while we were showing, and I was like, do you have somebody that does your videos and pictures? And he's like, oh no, we kind of do it ourselves. And so I was like, well, you should use my friend Rogan. You should I gave him his number and whatnot, and now like he does all his stuff or whatever for the past couple of years now. And
Rogan's great at it though. Like he's so good.
So good at it. He's the best.
Yeah.
Who knew media?
We'll cut this part out.
So
I love it.
and then you know, so like Rogan got in that way with Terry, and then you know, a couple years down the line, Rogan's like put the bug in my ear, like, hey, like Terry's looking for something, you know. So it's just like full circle. So it's just like everything happens for a reason, man. You know, it's just cool. Like it's crazy, you know. Like you know, I'd never in a million years, you know, my plan and God's plan is two completely different things. You think you know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing, you know.
But he sprinkles them in for you, right?
Oh,
like, he sprinkles in like, oh, this person's gonna nudge you, and then this person, and you're like, people you never would have thought that would encourage that decision is like,
you know, if I was, you know, if we were left to our own ways, we'd be in a completely different place. But you know,
probably.
Yeah. So, anyways, so that's how this whole thing started. A lot of different, you know, from my brother and Michaela's sister having cancer, to us going to the same camp, to using Terry as a realtor, to, you know, selling, buying a place, and then you know, meeting, and then saying like, hey, I'm doing my course. If by any chance I can do some work for you, like I'd love to do that. Yeah. I originally said that, like I'd do it for free, and but he paid me. But
sick.
And then you know, now being a part of their team has just been the best. So and then, you know, life keeps changing. You know,
it's
life
crazy,
keeps changing, man. Yeah, no, it is crazy.
Oh, it's awesome. So take me through now. When in that process, in the timeline of your life, did these get started? When did Uncle Ben's reach out? Like, tell me about that intro process, because I remember being at your house years ago, and you were like telling me about, you're like, yeah, you're looking through like designs and stuff. I'm like, what are you guys doing? And then you're like telling us, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then like to see it a couple years later, like be a physical thing in front of me is, that's pretty cool.
That is crazy. And like, I know
I'm gonna smash another one. So
oh yeah, no, don't mind if I
might
do
as well have.
Yeah. Cheers.
I got a rubber arm. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, so it's cool. Anyways, dude, like I admire that you guys like see it through, and I know, like, to see the ventures with Rogan, and then for all things that you guys have talked about, for it to like come full circle and come through and like actually become a physical product, and to see it get into like a lot of different provinces out west, and only growing, right?
Yeah,
it's awesome, dude.
Yeah, no, it is awesome, and I know Ben was on your podcast, you know, a couple weeks back, so go watch that episode if you haven't seen it already. But
you're too funny. Oh,
no, yeah.
Awesome.
So I mean, like, you know, this was his baby, and he started it back, I feel like 2019 or something.
Oh yeah,
like that. You know, he's been
eyeing it for a while.
And he's had some different people with him along the way, and things worked out, some things didn't. So and this was this was also it was weird just because, like, this was this was at the December of 2023.
Yeah.
So I was getting the real estate and the Bevo mixed up. So real estate started December of 2022, my schooling, and then Bevo started
year after.
Same
time roughly.
Yeah, yeah.
Within a year.
Yeah. Literally like almost a year. Like I started real estate like in November of 2022, and then Bevo December of 2023. And Ben Ben was I'd heard about Ben McKenzie like as soon as I moved here. I feel like I'd always heard the name like Ben McKenzie this, Ben McKenzie that. I'm like, I've never met this guy, but you know, he's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But so I always heard about it, and then when he had bought Orange Theory and he was doing all his outreach programs at like the 5 games and stuff, he had asked Rogan to do some pictures and video for his booth setup at the 5 game, and Rogan was like, hey, can you give me a hand as well? Like, I know my way around a camera, like, you know, so I was like, yeah, I'll come do this with you.
Nice, that's awesome.
So then I actually got to meet Ben, and afterwards we were talking, and Rogan introduced us and whatnot, and we were like, oh, we should all go out for lunch or golf or something like that. And so we made a group chat, and we were like, hey, whatever. And then I remember just like, I was out at the office one time, and I was like, I wonder if Ben's at Orange Theory and wants to grab lunch. So I asked him if he wanted to go get lunch, and we went to, I think, Mucho Burrito or something like that, and grabbed some lunch one time. We did a couple of little things throughout, like, the spring, summer. And then, like, December of 2023, he's like, hey, what are you up to? I was like, oh, nothing. He's like, I have something that I want to run by you if you ever have a chance. I'm like, yeah, man, like, for sure. He's like, you want to meet me at overtime? I was like, yeah, sure. And so we met at overtime, and you know we were just talking, and he says, I have a business idea, and he had I think it was a Vizzy or something, or a White Claw or something in front of him. He's like, wouldn't it be cool like if we had like our own drink, and you know we not exactly how he said it, like he said it way better, but like from what I remember, it's just like he was drinking. He's like, wouldn't it be cool like if we had like our own product, stuff like that? And I was like, yeah, that would be cool. He's like, well, actually, I've been working on this.
So funny.
Thing. It's a funny story actually. So he brought it up to me about his Bevo idea. He showed me some pictures. He showed me the recipe. He showed me like, you know, his vision of what he wants to do. And to me, I just started in real estate. So I was like, like, you know, this would be cool, but I know nothing about business. Yeah. Like, I didn't go, like, Ben went to school for business and marketing.
He's ran a few. It's his bread and butter, man.
That's his thing. He's an entrepreneur. I have zero experience other than, like, the past 8 months of actually doing real estate, but it's a completely different kind of business, but there's similarities. So anyways, I didn't know that then, but now I know that now, but... so he pitched it to me, and I was like, oh man, this would be awesome. Like, and so he's like, do you want to be like 50-50 partners? I was like, yeah, sure. Like, for sure. And like the first thought in my mind was, you know, like, you know, obviously I don't know what I'm doing, but also like, you know, who does know a little bit more than me and can do all our media and marketing stuff is Rogan. You know, my best friend. And then I was like, you know, hey Ben, like, do you mind like if I bring Rogan on? Like, I'll give half my shares to Rogan if he can, because he went to school for business. 2, he runs his own business, and 3, he does his businesses
all media
stuff. So it's like, you know, like that's would be like,
it would only 10x what you could do.
Exactly. So like, you know, like it and he brings a lot of value to the team, and we are like I'd say a solid team, you know, solid, like, you know, and so I love it. That was kind of like the birth of it. And you know, I went home and talked to Michaela, and you know, it's just like, oh well, can we really do this? Well, one, what's gonna be the what's the long term goals? You know, we still to this day have a lot of discussions, because it is still pretty new. You know,
big discussion, big decision for sure. Still,
it is, and it's a big investment as well. You know, it's a lot of work.
That's cool though.
It is cool, and so like from going from, you know, our very first meeting in my kitchen, like the 3 of us, to kind of talk about this whole Bevo idea. I remember we took like some pictures and stuff, and Ben had already, you know, he'd been working on this for a couple like years now, so like, you know, he had some, you know, some base knowledge, and he kind of like explained everything that we needed to do, and like, you know, Rogan and I had our own ideas, and the whole rebranding process of like the original cans to the cans that we have now to you know, the website, then now the Instagram, then now, so it's just like this whole like, you know, now there's us 3 putting our efforts into it. You know, doing all the paperwork, the emails, the calls, the trying to get into different events and trying to, well, first of all, just trying to get it manufactured was a whole different beast, you know, and we wanted to do it that spring. So like we had met in January of 2024 in my kitchen, and we wanted to have our run that spring, have everything ready to go. So it was like a launch for summer, so it was a big, like, it was a big crunch. And you know, we definitely, you know, we were like rushing, and we were like, okay, let's get this done, and we eventually like had it made. What day is this? June 7th.
How you did that without spilling any of it? I was like, it's all over the table,
all over the mics, you know, episode over.
You managed. That's crazy.
So June 7th, these were manufactured in the warehouse, and we went out to Alberta and, you know, tried a can for the first time. It was so surreal, like, just like all this work, all these late nights, because we all have our own jobs too, you know. You know, we're working all day, you know, I got a family, you know, and then, you know, we'd meet at like 11 o'clock at night and then start doing our stuff. Obviously, we'd sprinkle some stuff throughout the day as well, but we'd like usually meet late at night after all of us are done work. And to see all this work lead up to this, and then try it for the very first time, like, fully produced, was like, this is crazy. And then to be like delicious was a bonus. We knew it was gonna be good, but we didn't know how good. Dude, it's so good.
Like, I'm not even the first time I had it, I wasn't even gassing you guys up. I was like trying to underplay. I was like, how good can this be? Dude, it's
because it is like, because delicious. Like I don't like White Claws. I don't like you know, the Cottage Springs, the nudes, the neutrals, like all those.
They're either too flavored, or they're too carbonated.
And no flavor.
And no flavor. And I'm like, this has the flavor. It's carbonated enough that I enjoy because I like the bubbles. But it's like you're not getting one or the other. You get both.
I mean,
like, it's great.
You know, it's the first rum-based seltzer on the market. You know,
let's go, baby.
You know,
come on.
It's all natural. It's 0 sugar, 1 gram of carbs, 100 calories.
Fits my macros.
If you're watching from out west, you can buy some in Alberta, Saskatchewan, BC, Northwest Territories, Yukon. But yeah, that's the next big step, is getting it into Ontario, which is a whole different
ballgame, man.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen Ben McKenzie's episode, watch that one now.
I love it. What's the what, if you can share or feel comfortable sharing, what was your initial investment like?
What, like what Ben had?
Like what was your like initial investment in terms of what the expectation was, or what you needed to bring on in order to be like a partner in it? Like, what was the number, and also what was like the skill set behind? Like, what was the whole?
It was just sweat equity. It was just, you know, Ben had said, like, you know, we could be 50-50 partners, and I know he put so much time, so much money into it already, and for him to say, like, you know, you don't have to put any money into it right now, but you know, I'd like us to work on it. I was like, oh, phew, because I have no money.
So it's like, how do you even go about investing the money in that point? Like, is it like just a loan, or do you, like, depending on how much, right?
Yeah,
like,
so I mean, like, you know, like our first run was like 40,000 cans and like $40,000.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't have, you know, we had, I mean, when I sold my other house, I had money from that sale, but then, you know, we had a wedding, we had a honeymoon, we had, you know, we bought a new car, bought another house, that house, and then we went on a vacation, and then all of a sudden, all my money's gone. But,
it's weird how fast it went.
Yeah, it was much faster than I anticipated, you know. It's scary how fast it was. But,
super worth it.
Yeah, no, super worth it. Now, you know, now that it's, like, up and going, now it's, like, you know, travel costs, product costs, marketing costs, just all these different expenses that we kind of just, you know, split, you know, like, whoever can pay for it, please, you know. So it's like, and we're really just, once we get into the LCBO, you know, we're really hoping to see, like, some sort of, like, you know, compensation for all this time and money that we spent. And then, you know, once because LCBO is the biggest market for alcohol, like, in the world.
Insane.
Yeah. It makes sense. And you know, it's just a different process. That's why we started in Alberta, is because it's a open market, you know.
It's a bit easier, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. So, you know, they have so many different products out there. So, I mean, you know, finding space in that market is tough. But, considering, we are like a little bit different from other seltzers, being the first rum, being zero sugar, and, being like, 1 carb, 100 calories, like we're in that space. And then once people try it, they're like, oh, this is
great.
really good.
Yeah.
Like even people that say like, I don't like seltzers or I don't like rum.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, well, just try a sip.
The flavor's really good.
So
like,
try it, like, just come try it. And then they're like, oh, actually, like, you don't really taste the rum. Or like, oh, I like this a lot. So it's like, it's just like...
you guys nailed it on the product, dude.
Yeah, so
for sure.
Super happy about it. And we still got things coming, we're going to be changing our cans, so that they're not the sticker labels on there. It's going to be printed onto the can.
Like a shotgun.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the problem.
Dude, I got my buddy Reese has a K-bar, and that's the only thing I can use. But that's like a Marine Corps fighting knife. The thing's like 11.5 inches. Makes no sense. Anyways, that's the only thing I found so far.
Exactly, yeah. It's because this is because it is a matte finish. We wanted to, it feels nice in the hands, but it's hard to punch through. So once we have it printed on the cans, then it's gonna be
game over.
Game over. Come on.
Game over.
No. Yeah, I'm gonna buy so many. No, but that's once we get into the LCBO, that's our next that's our goal. So all this work that we're doing out west is to get into the LCBO. The LCBO is like we're not a startup company. We want to see that your product can move off the shelf.
Yeah.
Once you can prove that to us.
I see. Yeah, they're not in the business of pushing.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. No. So they're gonna say we're not gonna take a chance.
They want to make
on
money.
You. Like if we apply to the RTD, the ready to drink stream, and so does White Claw, so does Cottage Springs. Who do you think they're gonna make a deal with? They're gonna make a deal with people that are bringing that.
I would make the deal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I know.
But I'm mildly biased.
Exactly. So like for them, it's about who's gonna bring the most money. So, White Claw, we're in the same space as White Claw, Vizzy, Truly, Cottage Springs, Neutral, Nudes. Like if they're making applications at the same time as us,
big market.
Yeah, it is a big market. So once we kind of like put our foot in the door and people, that's the biggest thing is we're trying to get as many people to try it as we can, because once they try it, it's like, that's what you're gonna buy now.
For sure.
And we're not like a big corporation. We're just 3 dudes.
It's my favorite.
We're just
favorite part.
Just trying to. We're just chill guys, man.
I love it. I love it too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. What the one thing I will say is that I think you guys need a mango flavor.
Oh, dude, I'd love a mango flavor.
I'm a fiend for mango, dude. Like anything mango, I'm like, oh, say no more.
Say no more.
It could be a bad tasting mango. If you say mango in the can, I'll buy the hype.
Exactly.
You can even just buy or manufacture the label and then slap it on the peach one, and I'll just be like, yo, sweet, they got mango.
Dude, this tastes a lot like peach, but
I'm like, this is great, dude. Oh.
Yeah, no, that'd be right now it's just these 3 flavors: pomegranate, peach, pineapple, the PPP.
Yeah.
We also have like a cherry flavor produced and banana flavor as well that we could make into a drink as well, but we're focusing one thing at a time, so
just kind of getting it everywhere, proving it can sell, and then that's what I'm gonna do when I'm out west in the next few weeks. Is I'll be in Alberta, right?
Yeah.
And like I have buddies and stuff, like we'll be going into Edmonton and then driving to Calgary, and Calgary there for a few days and whatever. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy some in Edmonton. Just everywhere I go, have a can.
Unreal.
I'm gonna do it. For like, dude, I'll be at my buddy's jiu-jitsu club or like their MMA gym in Edmonton, and then I'll be training at another buddy's strength and conditioning place in Calgary like 2 days later, and I'm going to have a can every single time.
All right, well,
everywhere I go, people will be like, "What are you doing?" I'll be like,
that dap? Come on.
It's never bad though. I found I was like, every time it's solid. I'm like, we're all set. I've learned. I figured it out. I watched a couple tutorials. And, I try not to tell many people that, but it's just you here. So we'll be all right.
Yeah.
But what's it look like in the next few years for like the real estate, and then what's it look like for Bevel in the next few years? Like, what's the
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say.
2030.
Yeah, I wish I could say I knew. I don't know. Like the market's always changing.
Or the vision.
The vision. Okay, yeah, sure. The vision.
Yeah, like the you personal vision.
Me personally. Okay, yeah, okay. For me personally, man, that's a good question. I'd say 2030. I don't know, how many years would that be in real estate? That'd be 6 years. Like I want to be, at first when I was doing real estate, I also was working at the keg when I first started. Obviously, I wasn't making enough money to support.
Yeah, you're fresh out.
I was just fresh, just getting my base. So I was like, I need the cash.
How it goes, yeah.
You know, and then at the end of so this past Christmas, I quit the keg and went full time real estate / Bevo. Even though Bevo's not making me any money, I'm just I wanted to spend more time to work on it and real estate as well, and so I mean by 2030, so I guess 5 years, I would like to be fully just I want I don't necessarily want to like I don't know, like I a lot of people are like, oh, are you gonna go solo real estate? Are you gonna stay on a team? And it's like, I don't see myself ever leaving this team. Like, it's just like,
if it's doing well and they're supportive.
They're awesome, and they support me and my family, and they're just really good people. So I mean, I feel like by 2030, hopefully Bevo's taken off.
Oh, for sure.
I'd love for that. If it's across Canada, that'd be awesome. If we're dabbling in the States too, or maybe across the sea there in Europe or Australia or whatever it is, like, that'd be awesome. But I think by 2030, I'd like to be like in almost every province.
For sure.
That would be ideal. And real estate wise, just scaling, I hope like I'm just compounding every year, like, building my database, working, like spending more time just focusing on real estate and doing what I can. I want to just, I mean, now that we're going to be a family of 4, in the next couple of years, we got to move out of our current place and find one with a little more space. And so that's on the docket.
That's exciting.
I'd like to, get some rental properties. Everybody says that, but, it's a nice way to make passive income. And I've already dabbled in doing having tenants in my own building and whatnot. So I know you do the property management stuff.
It's not too foreign.
Yeah, no,
it's it has its battles, but if you're smart in the approach, which I imagine you are, and you are, and you've heard a bunch of ways it cannot be that good in the beginning, right? But it seems like you've done your due diligence in the past, so I don't see it being.
Made my mistakes, when I first.
But we learn from them.
Oh yeah. When I first had my house and I was renting out to, it was me and 5 other dudes. That was just like. It was just funny. Like, it was just like, I look back on it, it's just like, what a funny time that was. But I've learned a lot of things. Learned a lot of things from that experience. Like, just like what to do and what definitely not to do. But I wouldn't change any of it just because it shapes you. Yeah. And you learn a lot from your mistakes. Everybody says that, but you do. You do. And once you make a mistake and you're living with that. Literally living with that mistake of whether it be a financial mistake or a bad tenant or whatever it is, or your job, it could be whatever, it could be anything. Yeah. Then you're not gonna you're gonna do everything you can to not do that again, and then you're just gonna keep learning from that. And I would hate to say like I know what I'm doing all the time. I don't. Yeah. You're just sometimes from the outside it might look like, oh, like, this guy's got a nice job. He's got it all figured out.
He has all the answers.
I don't. I'll tell you that little insider. I don't. But it's we're just learning, and if I am to scale real estate, scale Bevo, whatever other business ventures come, just kind of you can't be too hard on yourself or listen to what other people say. Like, it's just, you got to be your own person. You got to do what you like to do. I loved working at Canadian Tire. I loved working at East Sides. I loved working at the Keg. I loved being a supply teacher. There was never anything I was doing that I didn't like doing, at least at the time. Sometimes you grow out of stuff, which is fine. You're changing, and we're young, and we're always figuring stuff out as we go. But to be here now, where I am, very happy. Yeah. Love my life. Love the people in it. Love you, Glenn.
I love you too, buddy.
Oh, another good dab.
Another one.
Even in this close proximity,
even with we're
sitting,
elbows,
the mics are in the way.
Yeah.
You want the Bevo? Like, come on, like, this is crazy.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Let's just do however many times however much time we have left, as many dabs as we can. No, I'm kidding. How
I
many
was
good
like,
dabs
we
can we
can
get?
pull
in
it
a
off.
row?
We can pull like at
For-
least 5. Yeah.
For the next 30 minutes, it'll be straight dabs.
Somewhere that video will do well.
Yeah, you know, just keep posting
Yeah,
it. Once it'll hit the algorithm,
Yeah,
and then that's your
it's
thing.
gotta
You just
hit
have
it,
different
yeah.
people on
Maybe
your podcast.
TikTok, yeah.
That's a new podcast idea for you. You just have people on here, you talk for a little bit, and then you see how many good daps that person has before you gotta be like, all right, you're out of here.
All right, we're done.
We're
Cut
done.
it. Just say your
there.
socials and we'll bail.
All right, we're out of
You
here.
know?
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's great, dude. What final kind of message or thing you wanna like? We seem to be wrapping it up pretty well, but I wanna anything you wanna say or make sure a message that's clear or delivered that you wanna kind of say to kind of round out the episode before you share your red carpet.
Sure.
Roll out the red carpet for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. First of all,
Dude, of course.
Appreciate you. I wish I had more to say. No, we could talk forever. I'll tell you that right now. We could go on
We've talked about 3 things.
Yeah, I know. We talked about 3 things, Max.
Yeah.
That's it. What if we talked about you for a little bit? Is that that kind of podcast?
We can
like
talk
what?
about whatever you want.
Well,
Two questions for me.
before
Hold on,
let's cut it here. Hold on, we're not ending the episode just yet. All right, we're not gonna cut right here. We're coming back to this. Glenn, I want to ask you a couple questions.
All right, I'm ready.
So
I didn't plan for this.
So
Shit.
so this place that you have here
Yeah.
is this your place?
No, so my I live in the middle unit of a triplex, and it's my landlord's, but I have a deal with him. So we did the initial renovation because he was a client for us first. Buddy and I, a handful of years ago, did the renovation for him, and then he was like, "Oh, this is sweet. Oh, if you guys want to find me a tenant," and at the time I was looking to get the hell out of my parents' house, part of my language, and get in there. And girlfriend was looking to move out, and also was like, "Yeah, I have money. I can like pay a section of rent." And I was like, "Sweet." And then I was like, "What if?" And then he was kind of like, "Well, I want this much for rent." And I was like, "Well, I want to pay this much." And I was like, "What if I take care of this, that, and the other thing, and then we get like a discount?" So now like I send him X amount, and then he sends me every month like a payment for taking care of like X amount of things. And then, like usually if people have an issue with something like small fixes, they'll call me, and then like within like a couple hours it's done.
And how many properties do you do? I see your videos of like you doing like plumbing, electrical, renos.
I have right now, I work where I have like X amount of hours at one building, X amount of hours at the other, and then I have like 2 or 3 different clients that own like 2 businesses, a couple gas stations, and like 2 or 3 rental properties each. So that's like between the 2 of them it was like 6 properties, and then they call me for service calls more so than renos. The odd time there's a reno, but like they're pretty cheap, so like when it comes to renos they rarely want to do them. It's a different conversation. And then I work for another building as well where they call me with, it seems to be a lot more stuff lately because they realize how decent I am of like a plumber, but I'm not, like I just won't do any like major commercial plumbing, but I can do everything else, and like fixtures, all that stuff minus soldering. So like anything on this side of the wall I can do. And it's pretty good. And like because all the plumbers seem to be having issues with like not only are their bills 4 times what mine would be, they're also having to come back multiple times. Whereas like I can go get it done right away and then do that. And then the videos is just something cool that I found is like I've gotten jobs from those. Like I've gotten leads from those just posting because I'm like, this is just cool to see.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it, whether you're into that or not. Because people, for
I
some
watch
reason,
them.
right? It's like you might
like,
never need to do that fix,
No.
but you're like, oh, this is like kind of cool.
And like it's educational. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to do this.
It's like satisfying a bit, and you're like, oh, it doesn't actually look
You have a
as
nice,
complicated as
soothing
it is.
voice.
Thanks,
know,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah. I
You
try to
just wanna
speak a bit
take it-
farther. All right, so this
You
is
just want to
actually
take this off, right?
we had a
here.
doozy. Damn it! I never even thought of that. Dude.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
gonna
do a
go
little
back, yeah.
ASMR.
I'm gonna be laughing every time I do one now. I'm gonna be like, damn it,
like,
Tim.
Just
Oh
want to
no.
grab your screwdriver.
Yeah. I'm gonna twist it counterclockwise. I'm gonna reach your hand around the pipe and you're like, hold on.
What am I watching?
Yeah. But I found, and then so I take care of different stuff. I have like a fucking $5,000 bathroom reno I gotta do next week, like on Friday, so that's a full day. And then like they just wanted a couple things, and then I went to check it out, and it turned out to be way bigger. But then I'm like, there's no way they're gonna go for this price. Oh, they went for it. Okay. But it's good because then it's like I prefer that because then I could take my like when prices are higher and the clients are like, and it's like it's a government funded building, so they have the money, but they
They got it.
somewhere. I mean, it's probably from you and I, but different conversation, get different next episode. So we can. What I do though is I find if it allows me to when the job is quoted at like a reasonable price and there's no like, you know, skimming things down or watering down the bill, I found it's been a lot easier to like, you could take your time, make sure things are done correctly, and you're not rushing or stressed out about the quality.
Yeah.
So you either, I heard this thing a while ago, it was like speed, it was like speed, or you either get it done fast, cheap, or good, and you can only get 2 of those 3.
Yeah. So
right? So it's like, if you get it good and you get it fast, well, it won't be cheap.
Yeah.
Right? If you get it cheap, well, it won't be, you know, you're going to compromise something.
Yeah.
Right?
The
But
triangle.
if you do all 3,
Yeah.
you can get all 3. And those are the jobs I've been starting to like lean more towards, like I've taken a lot more of lately, and they seem to be like, they seem to be doing well. I'm like, oh, why did these work out really well? And I haven't had any major issues yet. Oh, because they don't bark about prices.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving them a price, giving them an estimate, and they're like, yeah, that works. And I'm like, sweet. And then we come in, we give them the estimate, we make enough money to be like what I expected to make. And then it's like, okay, we're cruising, we're doing well with this. And then, you know, like if I can get an extra tool every other reno, then it's like, sweet.
Nice.
Oh, darn.
Yeah.
You know?
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I have a Milwaukee hammer drill I've been eyeing lately because I'm
there
sick
you
of
go.
borrowing from my dad. But I don't use, man, I used it once, like used it once today, and last time I used it was 4 months ago on a roof. So it's like, I don't use it enough to spend $600.
Yeah.
But it's like, the time I do need it to have to call to make sure he's not using it, or he had to drive back from Valcarin to the house.
Is that what
once
your
and
dad does?
No, he does like HVAC stuff, like heating.
Okay,
and
cool.
Yeah, he just cruises
I'll have to get his
for
number.
Alliance. Yeah, dude, he does a lot of side stuff as well, and he just shows up, does his thing, and just cruises. Man, he's fucking amazing.
Yeah, after this, I'll grab
Amazing
his
at it.
number.
Yeah, for sure. He's out of
Not for HVAC, just I want his number. No. I'm just kidding.
That's too funny, bro. What do you? Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of that, though.
And what's your goal for the next 5 years here?
So, in theory,
Trying to buy a place in the next 5 years? Like, I know a guy that can help you. No.
dude, it's between. I have a few people too. Like, there's part of me that would like will buy a couple things, and it'll be like I'll go to one person for one.
Oh
and
yeah, I
you
know. You
got
got a lot of realtor
It's
friends.
brutal because
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
wait,
of
but I'm
course.
like, I like your style. I like my other buddy Zach's style, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, it's
Zach's
not like it's
awesome.
between you two. It's just a matter of like, depending on what I want to buy
Oh yeah.
for, then that's who I would give a shout to.
Oh, for sure. He's
So it's like, well, this for that, but I'm like, hey, if I want to do this, I'm like, hey, how about the first one for this? But when I buy again, I'll go to this person.
yeah, no,
And then it's like,
for sure.
'cause I'm like,
No,
oh,
that-
man.
that's what-
It's like if I buy land, hey, Tim, you guys got land?
Yeah,
It's like, hey, I might go one for one, one for the other, because I'm like, depending on
Yeah.
like what I'm thinking, because there's a few different like things. It's like I want land for a farm, but I also want this. So I'm like, hey,
For
if you
rental
know,
property?
yeah,
Yeah,
man. And I'm
for
like,
sure.
rental property, but I want a house. So I'm like, might get house, go equity. I want to do a flip in the next like 3 to 5.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the like 3 to 5 plan, and I want to film the entire thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that would just blow
Go
up.
viral.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it'll blow up. There'd be no way. Like I have like a couple thousand, like thousands of views on like dryer repair videos and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
30, 45-minute videos of stuff, and I'm like, that stuff I think more people need to be doing. Like I think like you need to start a YouTube show, like of some capacity, even if it's just like hitting record and going about your 3 hours of like calling clients and freaking recording it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
swear.
It's all about
just
the
bleep
content.
out, dude. I'm telling you. And that's what I'm like, I find it very interesting about you and why I'm like really happy you're able to do the shows, because as much as there's a lot of people are very unique and they have their own ways of doing things, you have an authentic story to you, and I think the way you present it isn't like you're trying to be somebody else. It's like, this is you, this is how you are. It's like, this is where I met my lady, this is what my, or my brother, her sister, like all these people, this is what the issues we had. And you're like, this is what I'm this. I'm like, yeah, I might not have parenting advice for you guys. It's
Yeah.
gonna be great. We got this bit, but it's catered to you. And I think that authenticity that you have, if you don't start showing it more, I think you do a disservice in the long run to people, because then they aren't able to connect. And then I find you just build a better, like a more rooted, concrete base of.
Yeah, no, it's important
network.
to be true to yourself, and if people like you, those are the people you want to work with. If they like you, if you're putting on a facade and you're trying to be this hot shot kind of guy that you're not, and then
People see through it. Like,
people see through it
right away.
and it's just like you're not gonna be happy about doing it. So it's just like I love
true.
every day that I wake up. I love living.
Right.
It's just like doing stuff like this.
Dude, it's the
Love
best.
it, and just being all these different hats that we wear. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's got different lifestyles and whatnot. But being true to yourself is the most important. And you know, you don't gotta have it all figured out. You know,
No.
even when
Nobody does.
even in 20 years, you know, life's gonna be completely different in 20 years.
Insane.
You know?
You're just saying
You know?
5 years from buying a house
exactly,
is different?
yeah.
Like, imagine.
Imagine in 20 years, like, you're going to be figuring that out, you know, and you're going to look at other people and say, like, well, they did this, but these people did this. These
Yeah.
people say to do this, and especially with all this social media stuff, you see, like, you know, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should be doing that. It's like,
do these things to
do
get
these things to get this, you know. It's just like,
Enough's
I
enough.
don't know, like, some things, you know, you take with a grain of salt, and some things, you know, if you believe it to be true, then go through with it.
That's how it goes.
You know, you know, it's good to have a core set of beliefs and stick to that, and be true, and just, you know, have an open mind to other people. If you can meet anybody and they're gonna know something that you don't. So every time, you know, you're not gonna know everything. So it's good to be receptive, and it's good to be open minded, and just be a good person. If you're a hard worker and you're not a jerk, people are gonna like you. But if you're one and not the other, like if you're a hard worker but, you know, you're not nice to people, people aren't gonna like you.
True. Yeah.
If you're a really nice person but you don't work hard,
like,
people aren't gonna like you. So if that's something,
that's true.
Maybe that's my piece of advice. It'd be like, you know, just the two things is be nice and be a hard worker. That's all.
love it, dude. You know, that's awesome, dude. Where can people find you? Where can people work with you, connect with you, contact you? Lay it all out.
Lay it all out. My Instagram,
the red carpet, you name it.
timgraham.realty is my Instagram. You can find us at Bevo Beverages on Instagram as well. We're doing big things there. And I mean, I don't really use Facebook or whatever, but if you go to my socials, it's got all my information there. You can email me, tim@theaimsteam.ca, or
amazing,
tim@bevobeverages.com.
So, I love it.
You know, if you want to send me an email, I do a lot of those.
That's awesome.
So it's just that, yeah. So,
dude, that's awesome, man.
Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming out, bro. Thank you so much
for the road.
Thank you so much, dude. That's awesome, and that's